Hello everyone. I thought I would jump on here just real quick and do a short update as we leave Houston, just with what we have learned so far. It's not a huge update, but I figured while I had the time, because my dad likes to get to the airport with extra time to spare, and once we get home, I'll just be hugging my girl and playing with her. So I figured I had time, I would jump on and just kind of share what we know, which isn't too much, because I guess I'll explain as I go. Dad and I came to Houston. I did go ahead and get another dose of my Keytruda because I have time to wait to see what we're going to do about clinical trials, because there are trials that I am a candidate for. However, the way that my cancer is growing, there may not be a measurable cancer, if that I know that sounds like it doesn't make sense, but basically to be part of a clinical trial, you have to have something that's measurable. So a tumor that's this many centimeters that they can measure to see if it grows, if it shrinks, if it stays the same. Whereas my cancer, and I took a picture of my scans to kind of show you, so hopefully it'll make sense. But basically, my cancer doesn't have a definable tumor right now. It has it's basically like a rind. If you're thinking about a fruit rind, it's a rind of cancer that's running along my flap. That's just basically the picture will hopefully make more sense, but it's just running along my flap. So there's nothing super definable for them to possibly measure. Here is that picture, and hopefully it makes sense, but where he is pointing with the little pointer and where those arrows are pointing, that white kind of rim there is cancer growth. So not the white at the top above the cavity, but that white below, that line or rim of white there is the cancer growth. So again, if you're looking at it, there's not something super definable or measurable, but hopefully the measurements team will find something. We will see, I guess, but it's that white line, that's all of the new cancer growth. So the clinical trial doctor we met with, he basically sent the scans to a department in the clinical trial team that does all the measuring. So they are now basically reviewing my scans to see if there is anything that they can find that's measurable. If there is, then I will start this trial. If there's not, then I won't be able to start a trial. I will have to wait until either there is something measurable or go back on chemo, hope that shrinks it, and then it stays gone. But basically, the Keytruda, the immunotherapy, is not working the way they want it to, because there shouldn't have been any more growth if it was working properly. So it may still be helping in some ways, but it's not doing what they want it to do without the chemo, which is keeping my cancer from growing. So right now, what the clinical trial would be, it's called ADC, and I'm already going to forget. It's something antibody directed. I can't remember what the D stands for. Antibody-directed conjugate. But basically, it's ADC cancer treatment trials. You can, there's information about it on the internet. But basically what it is it's similar to chemo, but it basically has a binder in it. So instead of chemo, which just goes over your whole body, wrecks your good and your bad cells, so targets the cancer but also targets your good cells, this is designed to specifically bind to the protein in cancer cells and then attack that, keeping the rest of your cells as healthy as possible. So the side effects are a lot more manageable, and it's directly targeting cancer. So it sounds really promising if we can get in. In the meantime, I have started the ivermectin and the fenbendazole, just in hopes that it's the miracle drug people are saying it can be. But I've only been on that for a week. And so what we're doing right now is waiting until my scans. In 3 weeks, I come back to Houston. I have my scans. So this trip, I didn't have any scans, just blood work. The scans will show, if there's been any growth, if it's shrunk, and, what it's doing. And then if I've been able to get into the clinical trial, we'll make a decision then on if we're going to do it, which I think plan to do. I don't know. Babe and I have to talk about everything once I get home. But the clinical trial sounds promising. But in the meantime, if it's shrunk, then we may want to give the ivermectin and fenbendazole more time to see if it's going to do what people are claiming it does. Ultimately, I would really like to not start any chemo-like treatment until after Christmas. I would like to make it through Christmas, and the doctors seem okay with that. They don't seem like it's a super rush that I have to start chemo right now. The growth is, the cancer is growing, but it's not significant enough for them to be able to definitely say it's measurable, and hopefully it's still just slow growth, but we'll find that out at the next scans. So I go back December 14th, and then I'm back in Houston for a few days while I get scans, and potentially another round of Keytruda. I think that's all the updates. I know this is kind of shaky, and I'm probably all over the place looking at the phone because I'm just trying to hold it with my hand, and usually I have it sat somewhere, but we're at the airport, so I'm improvising. But overall, I was really anxious leading up to the trip, but then once we got here, I was just ready to get it done. My anxiety actually went away, and I was just I'm ready to talk to these doctors. And then we were in the talk with the doctors, and I was just so confused. My head was completely my brain couldn't fit anymore, and I couldn't. It was just, they were throwing acronyms at me and numbers, and I was just whoa, okay. But basically I got the understanding that it's like chemo, but with a binder, and there's multiple that I could be part of that are all basically the same. It's just if they have slots. So basically what the clinical trial doctor said was, if I have anything measurable that they can use, then basically they'll just find any of those trials that have an open slot, and I would take it. So that's what I know. I will update. They said it should be a week before I hear from them, because with it being Thanksgiving, it'll be a little bit longer. The process of them finding out if it's measurable will take a little longer, but it shouldn't be any longer than a week. So in a week, I will know a little more, at least about if I get into one of the trials, and then what those decisions will look like. But I probably won't do another video update like this until after my scans in December, because we really won't know more information other than I got into the trial or I didn't. So I'll probably just post that on the community tab. But that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. I don't know if I'll really be able to answer them, because that's really all the information I know at this point. So far with the ivermectin and the fenbendazole, I'm really not having any side effects from that. I did feel like a little like unbalanced the first day that I took the ivermectin. Like not dizzy's not the right word, but just unbalanced, like a little wobbly. But other than that, that hasn't happened again, and prayers that it's attacking my cancer. So I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving. I am so thankful for this community, that you are all so supportive, and I never would have thought that when I made that first video that this would become what it's become, and the amount of prayers that people are sending, all the things you send from the wish list, like all of the support and just encouragement, and it means more than you know. And I actually, while I was in Houston, I got a chance to meet with a guy named Chris, who is also dealing with sinus cancer, a different kind, but I will share his, I'll link his YouTube in the description, so that you can find his story if that's something, you know, his is different than mine, so he can explain it better than I can. But it was really cool to like get to meet somebody, you know, close to my age, who's dealing with a very similar situation. One of the things with head and neck cancer is I was in a support group. I also met with a therapist at through the hospital, but really there was no one under the age of 60 other than me. And so it was still great to talk with them, but just in very different stages of life. And so getting to meet with Chris, who's, you know, close to my age and just, you know, in similar stages of life was really helpful. It's just, and like, to not have to explain anything. Like, you just sit down and you're just able to talk, because you don't have to explain like what it's like to have this really rare cancer. And yeah, so just the connections this has brought, I'm grateful for. So I'm grateful for all of you, and just like I said, the support, and I want to send it back. So thank you for being here. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and yeah, bye everybody.